Shout out to Tokyo Treat and Sakuriko for sponsoring this video. Hello everyone! In this week's video, I'm drawing whatever the heck I want. I feel like it's been a long time since I did one of these. Well, I guess it hasn't been that long, but in the recent Draw Whatever I Want videos, I haven't actually had anything really specific I wanted to draw. However, this time around I did, so I was very excited to work on this video. I guess that's all I have to say for the intro, so let's jump into it. This first drawing is actually a drawing for a person that won a recent giveaway I did. So a few months ago I did a giveaway in collaboration with Vogue Grace. I was supposed to ship the winner some of my custom items from Vogue Grace. However, I kept running into issues with shipping the package, and the person had been waiting a really long time. So instead of shipping the package, I offered to draw them something instead. Thankfully, they were happy with that idea and gave me 2 characters to draw. The characters they suggested are Sana and Akito Hayama from Kodocha. They wanted me to draw them as high school students. In the anime, they are middle schoolers, so I had to decide the colors of the uniforms myself. Right now I'm drawing my little thumbnail of the characters. I wanted to draw them next to each other and in a way that shows their personalities. I drew Sana winking and making a peace or victory pose with her hand, and I drew Akito just kind of standing there. He seems like the typical shoujo male lead, where they're kind of standoffish and serious. Once I had the poses figured out, I moved on to cleanup. So if you don't know, Kodocha is an older shoujo anime. I actually do remember watching some of it when I was like 14 or 15. However, I think I couldn't find all the episodes. That was back when I used to watch anime on YouTube and episodes were split into like 3 different parts and had super low resolution. Nowadays anime is much easier to watch online than it used to be, or you are able to buy it on DVD. Anyways, I do remember watching it a bit, but I don't remember much about it. I just remember that the girl was kind of famous or worked in like the television business or something. Besides that, I don't really know much. But it was super fun drawing the characters because the characters are drawn in the classic shoujo way. I kind of felt like I was going back to my roots when drawing these characters. When I first started drawing, I took a ton of inspiration from classic shoujo manga styles. And over time, my style is still very much in the manga and anime category, but it has moved into becoming more my own, I kind of feel like. But for this picture, I tried to embrace the classic shoujo style and drew things a bit different from how I usually do. The process overall was super fun. I let myself put more details in the eyes with my sketch and also made the hair have more strands. Also, I didn't do line art for this picture. I didn't want to keep the person waiting super long for the picture, so I kept things a bit more simple. I only did a cleanup sketch, and I'll also be keeping the coloring a bit more simple. However, because I didn't do line art, this does make filling in the base colors more tricky. For the most part, I had to go around and manually fill in a lot of the colors. So filling in the colors does take more time, but I feel like it's still faster than doing the line art. Thankfully, I did use the paint bucket tool where I could. For the colors of the characters, I mostly selected them from different reference pictures I had. This also helped the characters feel like classic shoujo. I'm not sure why, but a lot of the colors in older anime have a different vibe than colors that are used now, and I wanted that to still come through. Like I said though, I did have to pick colors for the uniforms, but I kept it simple and just went with white, cream, and navy blue. I figured these were safe colors to go with. For the coloring, to keep it simple, I added cell shading to all the different parts with either a muted magenta or muted blue. I then added some gradients to different parts to help things feel more interesting. I always find it cool how even just adding simple gradients to things can make them look much more interesting or detailed. It definitely helps the shading feel less flat. For the background, I took one from the asset library and blurred it out to help it fit in with the characters. I made it be restricted to a rectangle shape. That way the characters kind of feel like they are at a place, but kind of not. It's sort of a lazy way to do a background. So yeah, that's my drawing of Sana and Akito from Kodocha. Thankfully the winner really liked the picture. Thanks for letting me draw this for you, and I had a ton of fun drawing the characters. For this next picture, I was drawing on my iPad in the app Procreate. I'm sorry I'm using footage captured by the program again, like I did for the last one. I was sitting on the couch while hanging out at my fiance's apartment, and I didn't feel like needing to worry about screen captured footage, so I just let Procreate capture everything. When I sat down to draw, I didn't totally know what I wanted to draw. I just wanted to draw on my iPad and use Procreate since it had been a long time since I last used it. I decided to randomly pick a color, and I got green. And green made me think of my OC Silva, so I decided to draw her. It's been a while since I drew Silva, but she's a character I always find fun to draw, so I like the idea of drawing her. For the pose, I went with one where she has the hood of her cloak up and she's grabbing onto it with both of her hands. It was a bit funny because to help me get the idea of how the pose works, I kept kind of miming holding the hood. It did help a lot, and it's something I often do for poses. I just try to do them myself and get a feel for them. And a lot of times, even if I can't see myself doing the pose, for some reason feeling it out can really help. Also, if you don't know, Silva is a fairy OC of mine. She is a princess, and I created her in this video. She was for the Create Your Fairy challenge. I liked her so much that I decided to add her to my fairy world of characters. A lot of times when I draw Silva, I draw her with a blank expression. I imagine she often hides her expressions with being royalty and all, but this time around I wanted to try drawing her with an angry expression. My idea for Silva and her role in Pariah's story is that she's trying to unlock her powers. So royalty like Silva is able to use magic, or they are able to harness the energy of the plant life around them. However, Silva is currently unable to do that. I imagine this creates a lot of frustration for her, and she has a lot of pressure placed on her since she's supposed to be the future ruler, hence why she is looking angry in this picture. Maybe she was on a quest to try to unlock her powers, or maybe she had an idea of maybe how to help them, but then it doesn't work and she still has no idea how to use her powers. Unlocking her powers is crucial since the powers of the royal family is what protects the different clans of the world. I've gotten comments from people saying that they think it seems like I don't have much for ideas when it comes to my fairy universe. But I do have a good amount of ideas, I just tend to not share all of them since it is a story I'm developing, and I don't want to spoil things if I do make it. So yeah, I do have ideas for it, I just don't always share them. For the lighting, shading, and atmosphere, I decided to go with a simple rim lighting. It's simple and easy to do, plus it adds to the mysterious vibe of the picture. I'll also add some leaves to add more motion to the picture. I probably should have drawn the leaves bigger considering Silva is very tiny, but maybe these are super tiny leaves. It was interesting using Procreate again. I often have to Google how to do things when I'm using it because I always forget how to do certain things. But it is a really nice app to draw in, and hopefully I can get more comfortable with it over time. So here's my drawing of Silva. It was fun drawing her again. I always like drawing her design. This next picture was supposed to be a simple project, but it ended up being much more complicated than I was anticipating. But before we jump into that, I want to thank Tokyo Treat and Sakurako for sponsoring this video. Tokyo Treat and Sakurako want to share Japanese culture and invite everyone to experience Japan from the comfort of their own homes through their snack boxes. Tokyo Treat and Sakurako are both monthly Japanese snack subscription boxes, but both offer different experiences. First, we have Tokyo Treat with the theme of Fireworks Flavor Fest. You will get up to 20 of the latest, most exclusive, limited edition, and seasonal flavored Japanese snacks that are only available in Japan for a limited time. Late summer in Japan is all about food, festivals, and fireworks. Dive into this month's box filled with flavorful festival-inspired treats, like the Salt Lemon Kit Kats, Salt Lemon Pretz, Osanpo Cotton Candy, and prepare for a surprising twist of the mystery-flavored Fanta, a taste that will keep you guessing. You can learn more about all the snacks you receive, as well as allergen information, in this really neat booklet. The booklet also contains a ton of really cool facts about Japanese culture. Two of my personal favorite snacks from this box are the 7-stick chocolate wafers and Star Ramune candy. These have delicate wafer on the outside and sweet creamy chocolate on the inside. They are super duper yummy. These sweet Ramune candies are so cute and have a lovely flavor, and the packaging is adorable. Next we have Sakurako. Sakurako invites you to join the festivals of Okinawa, Japan's popular tropical paradise. Allow your imagination to experience the warmth of Okinawa's sunshine and its culinary treasures with these Okinawa special summer treats like Okinawa salt senbai, pineapple mocha manju, and red tomato rare. They all pair really well with the floral Okinawa senpen tea. This month's special item is the Bengata Ochiwa, a popular bamboo fan. You will see a lot of Japanese festival goers holding this traditional fan. Bengata itself refers to textile dyeing technique originating in Okinawa and typically features a busy pattern of repeating nature motifs such as fish, flowers, and fauna in bright colors. Two of my personal favorite snacks from this box are the Kokutao Manju and Ochiwa Festival Cookie. These themed buns are delicately infused with the essence of kokutao, Okinawan brown sugar. They not only look super good, they also taste super good. These Ochiwa Festival cookies are so adorable. Look at the little crabs and the firework design. They also taste really good. You can use my code DRAWMANGA to get $5 off your first box. These boxes make a perfect gift for a loved one or are also a really special treat for yourself. Thank you so much again to Tokyo Treat and to Kuriko for sponsoring this video, and let's get back into drawing. As you can see, we are starting with a 3D model that I'm going to use as a base for the pose. This pose is pretty complicated and has a lot of foreshortening. I probably should have used this as a practicing opportunity for practicing foreshortening and maybe should have drawn things on my own. But I didn't really feel like tackling that at the moment, so I'm drawing over the 3D model. I just wanted to have fun and draw a character in a more complicated pose without giving myself a headache. And even though I'm drawing over the 3D model, I do still feel like I learned from it. Especially when it came to the arm that is coming forward. It was nice to break it down and study it. I don't copy the 3D model exactly, I still interpret things in my own way and make changes where I think is needed. 3D models aren't always accurate and things can sometimes get kind of awkward with them, so I don't follow them exactly. Also, I haven't mentioned who I'm drawing yet. I'm drawing Ahsoka from the cartoon Star Wars: The Clone Wars. I mentioned in a recent video that my fiance has been showing the show to me and I've been really enjoying it. Ahsoka recently got a different outfit in the show, and right when I saw it, I really wanted to draw it. Oh, and Ahsoka is a girl, but I used the male 3D model as my base. I liked how with the male 3D model, I could see the muscles of the arms more. And the proportions were working better for the pose. So to make things work, I do change things where I needed to make Ahsoka look like a girl. Once again, I'm not following the model exactly. I quite like Ahsoka as a character. I think she's cool, and I really like her design. I think it's really neat that she uses 2 lightsabers now. She has a long one and a short one in the other hand. I also just enjoy her character growth over the series. We are on season 4 at the moment, so we're starting to get closer to the end of the show. I was nervous to draw the lightsabers, mostly because I know they often have a lot of detail and that different lightsabers can look pretty different from each other. I was looking at a lot of different references. I eventually just zoomed in on Ahsoka's hands and some of the references I had and just tried my best to draw my lightsabers like the ones I was seeing. So I'm sorry if the lightsabers I drew are inaccurate. I'm trying my best. I'm a new fan to the series. Before dating my fiance, I'd only ever watched episodes 4, 5, and 6. And that was when I was like 16, so it's been a good amount of time since then. I thought they were good, but they didn't really hook me or make me a huge fan of Star Wars. However, as my fiance has been showing me more of the series, I've gotten more into it. Anyways, after my sketch was done, I moved on to line art. I was going to not do line art and only do cleanup sketches again, but I was getting tired of manually filling in base colors, and so I decided to just do line art instead to make the coloring process easier. However, because I didn't do a cleanup sketch, I was having a bit of trouble with my line art. My sketch wasn't super messy, I was definitely able to work with it, however it wasn't as clean as I'm used to. But I decided to keep pushing through with the line art and hoped for the best. Ahsoka has a lot of details in her outfit overall. It isn't too complicated, but her face and hair was definitely things that I spent a good amount of time on. It was a bit funny because after I drew this picture of Ahsoka and we were watching the show again, I would see little details that I missed or maybe didn't get right and I would feel a bit annoyed or bummed. But it's okay. I got most of the major things in place and feel like I got pretty close. You can tell who the character is if you know the character, I feel like. Also, you may notice I'm not fully drawing the parts where the lightsaber is going to be covering. I still wanted to kind of draw those areas because the lightsaber will have a soft edge to it. But I didn't bother drawing parts that I knew you wouldn't see. The part I was most scared about was the arm. I was worried I'd make it look weird with the line art, but I think it turned out okay. It was really interesting drawing the arm coming more directly at us. I don't draw poses like this often, so it was nice doing something a bit different, even if it did make me nervous. I do find that I did draw the facial proportions a bit differently in this picture, since I am drawing them in a way to make the face look like Ahsoka. I drew inspiration from the show and its style. Like a lot of the characters have very prominent lips, so I'm going to try to define those more. To make her look like she's looking really intense, I tried to draw her eyes a bit more squinty looking. To make them look squinty, I made them more narrow, but also kept the irises a decent size, so it kind of suggests that the eyes are more closed than usual. I'll also make her upper lid be pretty prominent, as well as her lower lid. I will draw a line to suggest the lower lid and how it's coming up from her squinting. It felt nice feeling inspired to draw a character again. I feel like I haven't felt that feeling in a while. That feeling of when I look at a character or see something and think, oh, I want to draw that. And I'm not totally sure why I haven't been feeling that recently. For almost all of this year, I feel like I've been in a bit of an art funk or art block. It's not so much that I can't draw or that I'm having difficulties drawing. It's more that I just haven't been feeling super inspired, or I haven't really been having that spark of inspiration. A lot of the art this year, I guess, has felt a bit more systematic for me. Like, I get an idea for a video, decide that it seems like a good enough idea, and kind of just go with the steps to get the video done. But if I wasn't doing YouTube, I don't know if I would really be drawing much. I just haven't been getting that super inspired feeling. And because I am busy, I haven't been watching as much anime or reading manga or playing Genshin. For a little while, a lot of the fan art I would draw used to be Genshin related, and that really inspired me. So yeah. But anyways, it felt really good when we were watching the show, and I was hit with that feeling of, I want to draw that. It felt like it had been a while since that last happened. So now I'm going on to the coloring, and I was getting nervous about this part, mostly because I had no idea of how I wanted to render this picture. I knew I wanted the picture to be dark so that we can see the glow of the lightsabers and it would be cool and dramatic. But at the same time, having the lightsabers be the only light source sounded very frustrating or not fun. I never really like shading pictures with one really strong direct light source. They are always hard for me to comprehend for some reason. So I randomly opened the material library in Clip Studio Paint and noticed they added some new preset backgrounds. I dragged some of them in to play around with. I then noticed that when zoomed in, the stage light background had the feeling I wanted. I wanted something abstract and spacey, I just didn't really know how to achieve it. But this had that look I wanted. It also allowed for another light source, so the lightsabers weren't the only ones. I went in with the same color as the background and started adding the light to Ahsoka all along the outside edges. Also, I'm going to say it now, I really like how the shading on the hand turned out. I'm going to add some green to it later, and the mixture of the green and the blue I feel like just turned out really nice and the forms feel good. I probably won't think they look good in a few weeks, but I like it now. For the face, I will add some green underlighting, but felt like it would be better to add some of the shading for now to help me get a better idea of the face and its form. I added a lot of shadows around the eyes and the eye socket area under the brow, and also around the lower lid to help define it more. In the show, Ahsoka's lips are a darker version of her skin tone, so I colored them in that way. I usually keep lips on my characters pretty minimal, so it was kind of interesting drawing them in this way. I also drew the nose a bit more defined and tried to shade it in a way that gave it more form. I applied the shading to the underpart as well as to the side of it to help pull it away from the face, if that makes any sense. I didn't do just the simple little dot nose with a tiny bit of shading like I sometimes do. Now it was time to add the green from the lightsaber. I added a soft gradient of green along the bottom of the face and applied a bit to the underpart of the brow. I then went in and started adding to the forms of the arm as well as the hand. Something I kept trying to do is leave some space between the blue light and the green highlights. This helps define the different planes of the forms and also keeps the lighting from getting funky or mixing weird. Like I mentioned, I wasn't planning to go super fancy for this picture. I was thinking maybe I would draw a simple headshot or maybe a kind of sketchy picture of Ahsoka in a cool pose. But I somehow ended up doing a full-blown illustration with full rendering and everything. I wanted to keep it simple so that I would have more time to do more art. But yeah, I spent a lot of my drawing time on this picture. But that being said, it is a drawing whatever the heck I want video. And what I wanted to do was fully finish this picture. Like I said, I was feeling really inspired for this picture, so I had that spark that kept me going. Plus, once I got an idea of how I wanted the lighting, I was having a ton of fun with it. The mixture of the teal and the green was a lot of fun, and it's also not a combo I ever really do. I don't work with green lighting super often. For Ahsoka's eyes, I decided to add a highlight that is shaped like the blade of the lightsaber. Because Ahsoka's face is on the smaller side in the illustration, you don't really see it when I'm zoomed out, but it's a nice little detail I liked adding. I figured the blade would be reflecting in her eyes. So after I got a lot of the rendering done, I took a step back and looked at the picture and I felt like something was kind of off. I decided to check the values of my picture by turning it to grayscale and noticed that the colors for Ahsoka and the background were feeling too similar. I also didn't like that a lot of the lighter values were down here by the swords that were also light. I still really liked this background, so I didn't really get rid of it. I just tried moving it around to see if there were different spots of it that I liked better. I eventually decided on this spot, and I felt like this spot had a much better balance of values. Ahsoka pops out a bit more now and doesn't really blend into the background like she was before. The top right corner did feel a bit empty, so I did add a little bit of light spots up there when I wasn't recording. And here's my finished picture of Ahsoka Tano from Star Wars The Clone Wars. I had a ton of fun drawing her, and she definitely gave me a challenge. Her design, pose, and characteristics were all outside my comfort zone, but I still had a great time working on it. I'm really pleased with how the lighting turned out. And here are the other pictures I drew. I do apologize that I didn't make as much art as I usually do in these videos, but I'm happy I got to dedicate more time to making a more finished piece, and I hope you still enjoyed the video. Well, that's all for now. Thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you all next week in my next video. Bye!